Hello, welcome to the Joe Fosco Show, and today we have our reoccurring guest, Michael Magnifici. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
So, sports, and today we have, a recent decision that came down.
We had a decision about Tom Brady. His appeal went well. He's going to be okay to play.
And this is for the previous, or
for the
former,
deflate gate,
yeah,
all that, which was it was so much of something about nothing.
the Super Bowl of last.
No, it was the playoff game.
Oh, right,
before
yeah,
it was the NFC Championship, and actually, what's really amazing about it is that they brought it to the attention of the officials in the halftime of that game, and Tom Brady could have thrown a Nerf ball around. He could have thrown a basketball around, and he still would have beat them. He beat them like, I believe the score was 45-7, something like that. Some ridiculous, overwhelming win. But he brought it to the court. He kept fighting, saying that he did not want to give up anything. He didn't want to give up his phone, which I don't blame him. Would you? Would you want to give up your phone records and this and that? He says, I have nothing to do with it, I'm not giving up my personal phone for this. And the NFL, it's another dig to the NFL, what they did again, and they got it stuck to them because the Judge Berman, he cited
An East Coast judge?
He's an East Coast judge. In fact, the NFL wanted so much to have it there by this guy. In Minnesota, there's a Judge Doty is his name, and
In relation to any of the Doties of Chicago?
I don't believe so. But they wanted to get it with this guy because he has had a record of siding with the NFL. Siding with the Players Association. And they lost that, and it goes out to New York to this guy who's like, they don't know what's gonna happen, and what does he do? He says, there's no grounds here. He wasn't saying that Tom Brady did not have knowledge of this or that. He's saying the way you handled it, the Wells report. They spent $6-7 million, $8 million, maybe $10 million. I don't even know the exact amount to find out what was going on. And when the smoke clears, the judge says, there's nothing here. There's nothing here. He rescinded everything. He said Brady could play. That's the end of it. Yeah. And now they're going to, obviously the NFL will appeal it to a Second Circuit court or something. I don't know.
Well, the appellate court. Yeah.
The appellate court, is that what it is?
Yeah.
But, I'm happy about it because, Tom Brady to me he's one of the greatest quarterbacks. If he's not one of the top 5 quarterbacks of all time, I don't know who is. He's been to 6 Super Bowls. He's won 4 of them. In my eyes, he should have won all 6. Couple of fluke catches, and the Giants beat him 2 times. That was something that the one where he caught the pass, the kid caught him in his face mask, and so he's without a doubt one of the best quarterbacks ever seen. To me, nobody's better than Joe Montana or Dan Marino. And I don't want to be biased because I'm Italian and I'm saying that, but look at their records.
I can tell you're Italian. You've got
talking with my hands. Is that what you're saying, Joe?
That's enough.
Is that enough for you?
I'm Italian too, but
are you? I didn't know that. I thought you were German Irish. I thought you were Tom Hagen.
I crazy glued my fingertips together, so I can't use my.
Well, why didn't you give me the crazy glue before we came in? But yeah, I'm glad about the decision. This decision, you know what the fine is for this? Tampering with equipment? It's a $25,000 fine.
I see.
This is what it's supposed to be. This thing lingered
from this multi-million-dollar project.
Multi-million-dollar project. You're watching the ABC News at night. It's the second story.
Right.
You got all kinds of things going on in the world, and here we're talking about Deflategate. Right. Everything is gate now because of Nixon. It's just ridiculous to me that, and this here is over the deflation of footballs. Yeah. Are you kidding me? This is really, it's just beyond what they have. With the NFL, it's another kick in crotch to them over this again, that this is another one they've lost. They don't seem to have their stuff together.
What's going on with tennis?
Well, we got Serena. She's going for the the legit slam, to do the 4 in a year, and I don't see anything holding her back. I really don't know. Sharapova, she bowed out before, she because of injuries and stuff. I don't see anything holding her back, and this will be great. And a lot of people don't want to give her the credit, that she's one of the greatest athletes of all time. To me, I think she is.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I mean, she's got 22 majors already, and if she does this, I don't know how the hell you cannot put her in the ranks of like the all-time greatest athletes of all time. This will be something, that's just unfounded. I mean, she really is a great athlete. I mean, I don't care what anybody says, what their opinions are. She is one of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah. And then anything going on with golf? Not really.
Well, yeah, we got the FedEx, the Cup going on, the playoffs. Jason Day, God, who's going to stop him right now? I mean, he's just unbelievable. Joe, these guys hit it so far. When I was playing, to hit a 300-yard drive, that was like gigantic.
Yes.
These guys, they hit middle woods that far. I mean, they call them metal woods that far, I mean, it's just unbelievable to me. They're hitting drives 365 yards.
What's the longest drive you've hit?
Well, I mean, you can't go by that because I could have been playing on a course that it was downhill. I had
How about one of the more difficult?
I mean, I hit drives, 330, 340 yards, but that doesn't mean anything. Anybody could hit that downhill with the wind with you. You get the bounce.
Sure.
That doesn't mean anything. But I was a long driver on the golf course. I was always considered a very long player. But these guys here, I mean, they hit. Jason Day, I mean, he could hit 2-iron where I was hitting driver back then when I was young, And it's just, I mean, the equipment, I always said though that Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer and these guys, they hit drives of 300 yards back then. If they had the equipment today, they'd be up with those guys.
I'm going to make it a little more personal, a little more local. What are some of your better courses? What are some of your favorite golf courses in the Chicagoland area?
Well, my favorite course is Cog Hill. Cog Hill. My best score there was a 67. I shot 500 par there.
And it's a legitimate score. I know
that was legit.
I know sometimes scores have
No. That was legit. We were playing for money. It was no nudging, no touching. You put it out, if it was this far, you scrape it in the hole,
right,
and you do that. That was my greatest score, I would say. 67. I shot 63 at Brookwood, but it didn't compare to the 67 over there because Brookwood wasn't that much of it wasn't
that challenging.
Yeah, Brookwood was a par 71, number one, and the par 5s you could hit in 2.
And did you win a championship or something at Brookwood?
Oh, I was club champ there a couple times, I believe. I think. I don't even remember. I never wanted that.
Who were some of the club champions besides you? I think Rocky Campanelli was one in the late 70s.
Probably, yeah.
Late 80s, maybe.
Yeah. It's hard to remember. I think Billy Dodano was. I think he was a club champ.
Billy Jr.
Billy Jr.
I mean, actually the third.
Billy the third. He's a great player.
Yeah.
Great player. One of the finest strikers of the ball I ever saw in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Best, without a doubt, the best putter that I ever saw in my life.
Remember you always said
I always said that to you. This guy here, I don't know how I can't putt. You could have a hula hoop for a hole, and I couldn't make it in there. Billy, you could have a thimble, and Billy would knock it in.
Yeah.
That's how good he was.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was I shot the 63 at Brookwood, but it was nowhere near the 67.
Was the late Jack Serrone ever a club champion?
Not at Brookwood, not to my knowledge. No.
Anywhere that you know?
I think Thomas Shanner, I think he was.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't he, when they were members there?
Could be.
Yeah, I believe that he was. Actually, when you bring it up, I believe that he was.
That would be what, back in the 60s maybe?
Oh, probably earlier than that, maybe the 50s.
Oh,
late
yeah.
50s, early 60s, yeah.
Is that right?
Well, the old man Jack was a hell of a player. I mean, he was single-digit handicapper.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was a 5, 6, 7 handicap. You know.
What about some of the rumors I'd heard that a lot of people would lose him on purpose because they didn't want it?
Oh, that's all BS.
Yeah.
Jack he'd beat anybody, bully me. Jack was a good player.
Yeah.
Jack honed his game. I saw Jack make some shots, taught me shots that nobody knew about. I mean, I remember one time I was in the rough and the ball was snarled around all this garbage, grass and stuff, and he says, "Put it in, fan it open, and you get it out." I said, "Jack, it'll shank off to the side." He goes, "It won't." And he hollered at me, and I did what he said.
And sure that's what he projected.
And it exactly what he said.
What was the best score he ever shot in your presence?
Jack? Oh, I saw Jack shooting the 60s several times. 68, 69, 67. I've seen him shoot that.
Now, I was with you and a couple of friends. You were golfing at Butterfield for some outing, and I won't get into names and how you were, invited into the situation. But I know you were golfing under an alias name, just so that things would be somewhat discreet and they wouldn't think that Al Capone's gang was in town. And I think you.
Why would they?
I think you shot a 67.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes.
Or was it a 69?
67.
It was a 67.
Yes.
Yeah, that was impressive. You won something for that.
Won a golf bag.
Oh.
I think I threw it out of the trunk after several drinks. No, I don't know. No, it was a nice outing. It was a Ronald McDonald's golf outing. And somebody I knew was like the chairman of the board of some.
Oh, I see.
Co-chairman, some
Right.
stupid thing, and she invited us out there, and
Yeah.
you were there, and,
Yeah.
and we went out there to play, and I played a hell of a round that day.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
It was actually sometime after 9/11, because the caddy you had, when we had dinner after the outing, the caddy was at our table, and I remember him mentioning that his father was a high-ranking federal official in law enforcement, and I forgot what branch, and that he said at that.
What'd you say? No, go
He
ahead.
said at that time, he didn't see his father. It had been several months that he saw his father last. It was after 9/11. A helicopter picked him up in Chicago, and he was working in the Pentagon ever since at that point in time.
Right.
And I couldn't help but think about, he should only know who his son's at the table with. Not that you're a bad person, but you've been
I'm a great golfer.
You're a great golfer.
Was a great golfer.
But you've been picked up by the media over the years as being a member of various other organizations besides golf clubs.
Really?
Yeah.
I've heard that.
Have you heard that?
Yeah.
Now, now getting back to golf.
Yes.
I think we've covered enough on golf.
Right.
Yeah.
We touched on the Tom Brady thing in the beginning.
Yeah.
I believe that this is going to be a huge thing for the NFL Players Association to have finally a grip against the commissioner. He's like 0-5.
Sure.
Everything.
It'll
he
be
does.
interesting to see how the appeal plays out.
Well, you know what, they appeal,
If they
Brady's going to play the whole year. He's going to play the whole year.
Do you believe they're going forward with one, or is it?
Well, I think they have to. They have to save it. They even if they go for, they should have just let this die. And you know what? And I blame Tom Brady and his camp. The New England Patriots. I mean, look what Bob Kraft gave up: $1 million fine. First round, 2 first rounds, and he gave up 2 first rounds in the second round.
Yes.
Draft. Those are huge. Nobody realizes how huge that is. He gave that up. I think he had a deal with him, and Goodell were supposed to be like buddies.
Right.
And I think they had like a little talk like we're talking right now. And he says, "Don't worry about it, just pay the $1 million and give up the 2 draft picks." and, and then turns around, goes again, and Kraft came out and said, I do not put my trust in the NFL anymore. They bagged him. They literally stuck it in his coolie, and I don't know how that goes forward, but a lot of owners were against the Patriots. They think that they're cheating because of Spygate, this and that, and you look what happened with New Orleans. The guys that were, the bounty, that was Bountygate, because what happens in football is that guys, they'll say like, here's $100 if you knock this guy out of the game. That's been going on for 1,000 years in the NFL. And what they did was, all the players that were accused of all of that, they beat it. But what did they do? They knocked the coach out for a whole year. That set that team back forever. Sean Payton, that knocked him out forever. For a year, it cost him his salary. You know what a head coach probably makes 3, 4. I don't know what his salary is, but it probably is upwards of 3, 4, 5 million a year.
Who do you like for this upcoming season in football?
Good question. Who do you like? I go by what everybody likes, and then I go against whatever they say. And I don't mean that like.
I haven't really thought about
who I like. I know this is going to be bad for Chicago media, but I've always liked the Packers. And I know that's it's a bozo no-no. I know that. But they lost two of their, they lost Cobb and they lost, Jordy Nelson. They lost two of their great receivers. I don't know what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in football, bar none. But I don't know, is he going to throw to Joe Fosco and Michael Magnifici? That's what he's got on his, on his wideouts. So I don't know what they could do, but I like the Packers before these injuries. Jordy Nelson's out for the year. Reggie Cobb, I think, is coming back. They say maybe game 2, game 3. But who do I like? I don't know. It's hard not to like New England, for all of it again. They're going to be there. But I'll tell you, I'll give you my sleeper pick. If you want my sleeper pick, it's not a sleeper. It's absolutely pretty obvious. I'll take the Colts. I like the Colts. I like everything about them. They've got a running game now, and Andrew Luck. I think he's the next coming of Dan Marino, Joe Montana. He's a good kid. He knows what the hell he's doing. He throws the ball. He's got presence in the pocket. He's unbelievable.
Right.
I'll take it. I'll take the Colts. I'll take the Colts to win. In the NFC, I don't know. What's amazing is that I don't think our Bears are going to be. They're going to be the basement in the league right now, because I don't think they're going to. To even have a 500 season is going to be a draw for them.
Yeah.
They're talking about. The experts are saying that they may be 0-6 before they even get to the break. To where they get the bye week. And I didn't see that, but when I look at the schedule, I could see it. They're playing such tough teams, but in the NFC, well, like I said, I like the Packers. I like the Packers and the Colts.
Right.
That's what I like.
Well, with football season, I know I asked you this question once before. If you want to remind me, I asked you the question. When we talk about football, actually, there's always gaming that goes along with football. So many people bet on football games, there was a person who I talked to recently who was trying to fact check some statistics or even correct some statistics on illegal gaming related to football. And I think I asked you, in your opinion, if illegal gaming is producing some serious revenue today or not.
I don't believe it exists anymore, and I'll tell you why. Because it's so attainable for somebody to just gamble legally. Mm-hmm. Somebody that's got a laptop, which I don't. know how to do that.
Right.
But you get on there, you punch in your credit card, and go in there, okay.
What about the people that don't have credit cards and have bad credit?
That's where bookmaking will still come in. The one thing why bookmaking will always be a business is because you don't have to put your money up.
Okay, but you a minute ago said that doesn't exist, and now you said.
No, I'm not saying that it doesn't exist.
You mean high revenue number doesn't
Right.
exist? Okay.
Because people, they don't need it. You know, the people that have the money, the only people you will get to bet with a bookmaker, a street bookmaker, is somebody who doesn't have the money to pay. He's gonna say, you know what, Joe, here, I want, he's gonna call you up, and you're gonna write down, yeah, I want Bears -7, give me Green Bay -3, just give them all the need for 200 a game, round them up, and give me a $200 round robin, and he doesn't have the $900 to pay for that. So he's gonna bet that with you. That's the guy. Because if he does have the money, why wouldn't he just bet on his online thing?
Yeah.
Swipe his card, go in there, bet. But yeah, no, bookmaking's never gonna go. There's always gonna be somebody.
Now, some of the bigger bookmakers in history here in Chicago, before the camera started recording, we were talking about Joe, the heck was his name? Pardon me.
Joe Spot?
Yeah, and he and some of his close partners were pretty powerful bookmakers.
Right.
They had a big
Joe
income.
Spot was one of the biggest bookmakers, one of the sharpest guys that I heard. I learned a lot from him.
There was another bookmaker, I don't think he was very well connected to Joe, but he belonged to the outfit, and he was a friend of Jack Cerrone's, the late Jack Cerrone. You might remember the story maybe better than I do. You might have even been there when it happened. I believe the unnamed bookmaker, who was the late Jack Cerrone's friend, was joking around with Jack one night while they were playing cards and said something about Joe Spa in reference to Jack. Would you mind touching on that?
Yeah, I know the story you're talking about. I don't know why Jack Sr.,
The late Jack
Sr., I don't know why he had such a
animosity.
Animosity, I was going to say a different word, I'm glad you said that.
Animosity over who?
Over Joe Spot. And this particular person said something, just in a jokingly way in a bar. I wasn't there, but I've heard the story several times.
Yeah.
And he said, well, Jack, he says, the guy, he says, well, I know, he says, you ain't tough enough. Jack said to this guy, you ain't tough enough to tell me that, and the guy says, well, I know one guy that's tougher than you. He says, who? He says, it's like just kids talking,
Yeah.
I'll beat you up in the poop.
Maybe a few drinks.
A 1,000 drinks. And he said, Joe Spot, well, with that, Jack,
He slapped him.
slapped him in the face, knocked him down on the ground. And a friend of Jack's, a very dear friend of ours, before he hit the ground, he had his foot on his throat.
The Jack's friend.
Jack's friend.
I think I know who that is. You're talking about Willie.
Willie, okay. Had the foot on his throat and said, what do you want me to do, Jack? Choke him, kill him, strangle him, throw him in a garbage dump, whatever. And all Jack did was stand over and says, listen, Greek, nobody's tougher than me. You hear me? Nobody's tougher than me. He was like, you're right, Jack. Nobody's tougher than me. Which I guess anybody would have said at that time. Would have
Yeah, I would say there's some pressure there.
A funny story. It just,
Well, funny in a certain complicated way.
Well, it was funny that the next day they're playing cards together. So how serious was it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The next day they're sitting across the table and they're dealing out the cards.
Like nothing happened.
Like nothing happened. That was just like spilling a drink,
Right.
So it was no big deal.
So, are you gonna come back soon, I hope? I think we did a good
I
job
told you,
today.
I enjoy this. I really do. I wish we could do it more frequently because there's so much to talk about. I wish we could have done it after the PGA. You don't need with the golf. I know it's not interesting to your following, but so much going on with golf right now. And and I'm not a big tennis person, but it is interesting to see. I'd love to see if Serena could do this. This would be really big if she could do this. If she pulls this off and wins a Grand Slam, you know, Steffi Graf is the only one that's done it. And I would love to see it if she could do it. I'm cheering for her. I mean, I love history. I love good history and you know, stuff like that. I'm really pulling for her. I really am.
All right, well, let's keep an eye on Serena Williams and hopefully.
Yeah, and you know, a week from today, we'll know if she did it or not.
So you'll be back soon?
I'll be back whenever you say.
All right, thank you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.